Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Enjoy English School. I'm Bruce.
I'm Antony.
Today we have our monthly close test. That is, we have some sentences where a word or phrase is missing. And after we read the sentence, you should decide among 4 choices which word or phrase makes sense in that particular sentence.
Yeah, 我们今天要介绍的主题呢是克漏字哦。那这个克漏字的话，相信大家都很熟悉嘛。就是说，今天你看到一篇文章的时候，里面有4个选项，你碰到这个空格的时候，你会想说，哪个选项可以填进去？在这里的话，要学着去看上下文，去判断词性啦等等这种方式来去解题。
Well, we'll be talking about today's topic, the sharing economy kicks into overdrive. Well, we're going to explain these for you later in the program. Sharing economy, to kick into means to start, and to start seriously or with a lot of energy. Into overdrive, that means you're going to concentrate on something and ignore everything else.Yeah,
所以这边的话，我们的主题呢是 The sharing economy kicks into overdrive. 这边的话，我们先介绍一下 The sharing economy 就是我们常常知道的共享经济。比方说，我们在这个不同的城市里面，可能会看到什么 U-Bike 这种共享单车啊 Bike rental system，或者像你听到这个 Uber 啦，这些东西都会是共享经济 Airbnb 等等，都是很多的例子哦。事实上，在108年的学测全模考题呢，还有出现在翻译，就在讲到这种共享经济，提到这个 O-Bike 自行车的这种翻译。如果各位有兴趣的话，可以回去找108年的全模，它的考题里面就有出现共享经济这个主题哦。好，我们来赶快看一看我们今天所讲的这个主题 The sharing economy kicks into overdrive. Overdrive 老师刚刚有介绍的这个意思哦，就是指说你专注在某件事情上面，其他事情都不管，非常非常快速的发展。我常常看到这个字的时候想到 go into overdrive， 但是它这边用 kicks into overdrive 就代表说这个共享经济正在快速的成长的意思。
And we have a note here, if people need anything, they can just rent it. Why buy something when you could rent it and just use it once or twice and then you don't have to waste your money?
没错，所以这边的话，我们的副标题是说，如果人们需要任何东西的话呢，他们只要用租的就好了，不见得一定要自己把它买下来。
All right, we'll take just a short break and we'll be right back for our first paragraph. Okay, let's get busy. In New York City, people can go to the New York Public Library and get some ties for their job interviews.
所以我们看到第一句话说 In New York City 在纽约市里面呢，人们呢 People can go to the New York Public Library 好，人们可以去纽约的公共图书馆。他说可以到这个公共图书馆去干嘛呢？ And get some ties for their job interviews 居然可以去说可以去选一下他们要去求职面试的这些领带，可能去借一些领带或是租一些领带这样子。
They don't have to go to New York. They can go to my closet.
老师的领带超多的，直接去老师的这个衣橱里面拿就好啦，这么费心干嘛，对不对？
Okay, let's look at another example of our sharing economy. In other cities like Toronto, people can pay a small fee at fashion libraries to rent clothes for any blank. If you do go there, or the people who live there, you can pay a small fee.A fee is an amount of money that you have to pay, but it suggests it's not a lot of money. Well, here it's small fee. At fashion libraries, there's a concept for you. A library is a collection of books or other items of which there are many types. And a fashion library, of course, would offer lots of different clothes. I think women would be very happy to go there because they might easily find skirts or blouses or dresses, and it wouldn't cost much to rent them. If you're just going to go to a party or an opening, an important type of opening, you want to look your best, but to buy a $500 dress and wear it once is a kind of waste of money. Anyway,there are many reasons you might want to rent clothes for any blank. Here's our first item. And we have A, accident, B, occasion, C, imagination, or D, environment? Well, for any accident? No, I don't think we buy clothes for accidents, but we might buy or rent clothes for any occasion. An occasion is something that happens, but it's something important that happens. So if someone wins an election and you are invited to go to the election party, you want to look your best, you want to look nice. So that's a kind of occasion. Or if one of your children or friends graduates and you go to the school where they graduated from, that's an occasion. That's the best answer. You can't rent something for imagination. That's impossible. And environment? What kind of environment? Do you rent an environment? That doesn't make sense. So let's choose B. In other cities like Toronto, people can pay a small fee at fashion libraries to rent clothes for any occasion.
Yeah, 所以这边的话，第一题呢，我们就出来了，答案就是选 B。Occasion 场合的意思，所以整句话就说了，像是在其他的这些城市，像 Toronto， 在多伦多这个城市 ，people can pay a small fee， 能花一点小钱，在哪里呢 ？At fashion libraries， 就是在这种时尚图书馆哦。所以图书馆里面不止装书，还有很多各式各样。如果是时尚图书馆的话，你可以找到不同的衣服啦、配件啦等等。To rent clothes for any occasion， 可以为了任何的场合去租借衣服。
Okay, our next sentence, Library of Things, a company located in London, lends out non-traditional items such as drills or music equipment to customers for short periods of time. Now, a drill is a tool used for making very small and deep holes, usually in stone or in wood. And if you're just going to build something for your first time, a drill can be quite expensive, so it's better to rent one, and that's the purpose of this library of things. Or maybe you want to try to play a musical instrument, or you need some other equipment for a microphone and a tape recorder or something. You want to record music. Whatever your reason is, the library of things has just almost anything you can imagine. They don't sell. They rent it, and that's what we're talking about with this sharing economy.
Yeah, 所以这边又告诉你另外一个例子哦。比方说，现在告诉你说，在这个伦敦呢，有家公司叫做 Library of Things， 是他们的公司的名称哦。Lends out non-traditional items such as drills， 连那个砖头，那种砖头呢，它可以租借。如果你是刚开始第一次想要去做一些什么器具，然后去买那个砖头很贵嘛，它可以去租借。Or music equipment， 老师刚刚用了另外一个重要的字词叫做 musical instruments， 就是指乐器的意思。我帮你拼一下 instrument 这个字哦 ，instrument instrument。那如果说我们提到乐器的话，我们常常会说 musical instruments， 好，用这种方式去表达，他们可以去租借乐器、租借砖头 to customers for short periods of time。意思就是，如果你只是要短期使用的话呢，它可以租借给这些重要的这种顾客啊，租借砖头的啦，或是租借任何乐器。
Well, I hope they don't rent out dentist drills.
哦，那种牙医用的那种租借的哦，那样的话，如果是第二次使用，这样好怪，好恶心哦。
Okay, that's it for the first paragraph. Take a break, and we'll be right back. Okay, our second paragraph. All of these examples, these meaning the library of ties, library of things, and so on, are part of the new sharing economy. I mentioned that before. A business model based on sharing or renting goods, blank, owning them completely. So this is a business model. You can still make money from this by renting out things that you're not using, or instead of trying to sell it, you could rent it if it's a popular item. Now, sharing or renting goods, blank, owning them completely. Now, if you own something, you it's yours completely. It's yours. It's not part-time if you own it. Now, what can we put here? Let's look at our choices. Would it be A, instead of owning them, B, as well as owning them, except for owning them is C, and D, in spite of owning them? The only one that makes sense is A, instead of, rather than. You do A rather than B. You do A instead of B. You rent rather than sell or try to own something. So that's your best bet. I sort of laughed when I read as well as. You can't do both.
没错，不可能嘛。好，所以这边的话，我们来看一下第二段的这句话，说 All of these examples， 刚刚第一段所提到这么多的例子呢 ，are part of the new sharing economy。好，就是新的这种共享经济。A business model 就是指这种商业模式 based on sharing or renting goods。这个地方特别注意一下 goods 指的是商品的意思哦。这个地方的话 s 一定要加，它永远都是复数的。然后这是代表说这样的商业模式是奠基在什么样？要么是共享，或是租借，借出去，或是跟人家借这些商品，而不是 instead of owning them completely， 而不是自己去买然后拥有它们。所以这边的话讲的是一个相对的概念，我们这边的话要选 A instead of。
Okay, our next sentence is a long one. By following the example of how Airbnb and Uber disrupted overpriced hotels and taxi services, tech companies have blank online platforms that connect people seeking goods or services to those who have them to offer. Okay, so this explains what this sharing economy is all about. And I'm sure you guys know this a lot better than I do. Airbnb and Uber and all kinds of these companies, they don't sell things. They rent things because people don't necessarily... What if you see a beautiful dress for a very important party? And a very beautiful dress could cost many hundreds of US dollars, and you're only going to wear it once? Doesn't make much sense. So that's there was a big demand for this kind of business, and it has disrupted overpriced hotels and taxi services. Now you don't have to go to a very expensive hotel or take a taxi, which can be very expensive, especially in big cities. So tech companies, which are behind all of this sharing economy, they have A, run out of, B, set out for, C, come up with, or D, looked up to online platforms that connect people, those who need a good or service, with those who have that but don't need it right now and can rent it out. So what works here? Well, obviously, C, come up with, is to have an idea, a new idea about something, and they can have an online platform. They're very creative people, and they make it work. So this dream idea is now a reality.
没错，所以这边这句话就告诉你说呢，像是呢这些共享经济就非常非常多的这种公司去By following the examples of how Airbnb and Uber， 好，这个地方他那边提到的这两家，这个 Airbnb 跟 Uber， 大家都很熟悉的 ，disrupted overpriced hotels and taxi services， 好，他们这样子的这种商业模式，能够颠覆原本可能所价过高的这些饭店啦，或者是一些这种计程车的这种服务啊等等，所以它等于是帮这个需要饭店或是需要这个计程车服务的人。找到了，我刚好有一个空的地方可以住，或者是我刚好可以当你的司机，做这样子的一个媒合哦。然后就是说了 ，tech companies have 这题答案我们选的是 C， come up with， 他们就想出了 online platforms， 去创造这种网络上的这种平台 that connect people seeking goods or services， 好，所以对于那些需要这些商品或服务的人呢。还有这些有这些商品和服务可以提供的人呢，让他们连结在一起。你需要的我给你，不见得要透过这些 hotel 或者是这些 tech services 来达到。
Okay, we'll take a short break before returning for our final paragraph and our final 2 items. Okay, I always find that when the blank, number 4 in this case, is at the beginning of a sentence, it's more difficult to get the right answer, but we'll help you with that. So blank. The sharing economy has created a lot of opportunities for individuals to earn income. So many people can benefit in terms of a job or extra income. And that's a good thing. It's not without problems. Oh, so it's not perfect, huh? So what should number 4 be? We first talk about something that's great, and then we come back with, be careful. So would it be when, while, since, or once? And if your English is good enough, you would choose B. I say that because while has many different meanings and uses, but here it's perfect for this situation. While A, though how, B, and A and B present a kind of problem or difficult choice. So, or they contrast. While A instead of B, there's a contrast between the two. So we think the sharing economy is great. It creates opportunities. People can earn income. However, there are problems with it. So it's like a however.
Yeah, 没错。所以这个地方，如果你要去选择一个先讲到一个好的东西，然后再讲一个坏的东西，要呈现出一种对比的感觉的话呢，你可以选择 B 这个选项 while。所以整句话意思就是说，好，你看到说 while the sharing economy has created a lot of opportunities for individuals to earn income。虽然说呢，共享经济为个人创造很多赚取额外收入的机会 ，it's not without problems。但是呢，它也不是完全都没问题的哦，是有一些问题存在的。
For example, here's a problem. The lack of regulations and safety in peer-to-peer transactions has been a concern. There's not enough regulation. Regulations are rules, and serious ones we call laws, and safety. You may rent a car, but you didn't know that it has a lot of problems, and you're going to drive it a long distance, you might have a serious problem, and so on.
OK, 所以接下来这句话还告诉你说 the lack of regulations. Regulation 就是管制的意思，那种法规的管制，法规管制的缺乏 and safety. 好，还有这个安全性 in peer-to-peer transactions. Peer-to-peer 就是这种点对点的，没有透过中间的这种可能政府啦，或者一些比较好的有信誉的这种机构去帮忙去管理品管的话呢，这种 peer-to-peer transaction 点对点的这种交易 has been a concern. When you say a concern means a problem, 就是会造成问题。
Some companies have been accused of blank their responsibility to ensure the safety of their users. Well, here's an example of that lack of regulations and safety. Some of these sharing economy companies have been accused of bothering, delivering, preventing, or neglecting, especially with this their responsibility. Wow, we've got a word that often is part of that phrase, and it is D. If you neglect your responsibility, you don't pay attention to what you should. And that's what we're talking here. This is one of the problems of these sharing economy companies. And people have said, hey, it's a great idea, but you have to have safe and legal products for us to rent from you. And some companies have been accused of, people have said, hey, that's illegal, and you shouldn't do such a thing. If it's not illegal, it might be immoral. Otherwise, your users won't have safety.
Yeah, 没错。所以这边这个地方呢，他说 some companies have been accused of. When you say be accused of, 就是被指控、被控告说怎样怎样怎样。有一些公司呢，他们就被控告说什么事情呢？在这边的话，我们看到空格后面有 their responsibility， 跟责任 responsibility 有关的字词汇呢，答案选的是 D。neglecting their responsibility 就是呢忽视或是忽略了他们该尽的责任。什么责任呢？ To ensure the safety of their users， 要确保用户安全的责任。有一些公司它没有做到。
Okay, we finish with, in brief, finally, the sharing economy is a rapidly developing and complex phenomenon that is having a significant influence on society. Notice that the last sentence does not say that it's all good or all bad. It's a new type of service, and maybe it needs a little time to improve.
OK, 最后这句话叫做 In brief, 简言之呢 The sharing economy, 共享经济 is a rapidly developing and complex phenomenon. 好，就是非常非常快速的在发展，而且是很复杂的一个现象 that is having a significant influence on society. 那这样的现象呢，又会影响到我们的社会，影响的层面非常非常的重大。这个地方 significant 就是重大的、重要的 influence 当然指的就是影响力。
Okay, we'll take a brief break and we'll be back for our very short vocabulary review. Okay, our first vocabulary review item, sharing economy. That's what we talked about for the last 20 minutes or so. The renting, not buying of goods and services.
就是我们的共享经济哦。
Number 2, equipment. Another word, in some cases you could say instruments, but in general, they're just goods.
没错，这边 equipment 的话指的是这种装置啊，或者是设备等等。这个地方特别注意的事情是 equipment 它是不可数的，它会不加 s。如果你真的要数它的话，你要说 a piece of equipment.
Number 3, a regulation is a rule.
Regulation 就是规则、规范的意思。
And finally, number 4, be accused of. If someone is accused of, someone is being blamed for doing something wrong.
没错，这边就是指被控告或是被责怪说没有做好后面的事情。
That's it for our lesson today. We enjoyed being with you as we always are and do. We'll be back one more time this month. Hope you can join us for that program too. Until then, bye-bye.